last time you were here, did you work on piecing the quilts? No. Okay, cool. Is sewing something that you're familiar with? I can't remember.
I'm adequate.
Okay, cool. That's all we need here. You just learned to sew how to sew today, right?
Yeah, that's what you call it.
It is what you call it. See, look. Today's volunteer day in the studio. Like, I normally do have open volunteer hours at this time, but we made like a Facebook event and stuff to try to get more traffic in here. We're just making like a big push to try to finish all the quilts in the next, hopefully 2 months. We technically have 3 months, but I would like to get them done before that. So you're gonna sew them all to each other, and then that'll be the 4-foot quadrant of the quilt. And same with like these bundles. We'll make up other parts of the quilt. So people at this table are working on piecing the like fabric pieces of the quilt. So they have to be 8 feet by 8 feet, and like you can see the one up on the wall there. That I did that with a volunteer, and so it's like 4 quadrants, and then all 4 quadrants are sewed together to be the 8 foot by 8 foot piece. And then we pin and add and sew the backing, the plastic backing material onto the back. And then over here is like one of the final steps when they put these grommets in the corners, and so that's how we can install the quilts on the ground, as we use tent stakes in the grommets here. So 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. That's the 579th 8 foot by 8 foot piece that we have. By the time we're finished up, we're going to be in the 3,000s for individual submissions.
Never grommeted before. It's a little bit tricky at first. Voila. I like to give back because it was a big part of my healing. So I made a quilt way back in the beginning, and now to see all these stories of quilts come together and me be able to help with it, it's been awesome. Like when I first went, I really didn't know what to do or how to express myself. It was still, my trauma had just recently happened. I was holding on to clothes from the incident. I sewed on a t-shirt and shorts and wrote my story inside with Velcro flap. So I physically was able to rid myself of those clothes. So it was like a huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
We wanted to support the Monument Quilt by sharing our stories as males. And we also felt like our stories need to be told. When you hear of victims and survivors, it's because of males, as perpetrators. For me to be a survivor is to be proud and to deal with other survivors and do as much as I can to help. It doesn't matter what culture, race, what have you. A lot of males keep things inside. It's just not, how we're brought up and wired, to just, state our feelings and reach out for help. For art, you're involved, so you're using your hands, it goes to your heart, it just brings people together spiritually.
When I went through my experience, like I was told that I was lying and that I wanted it to happen to me and all of that. So I said, well, maybe somebody else has experienced this. Like working on this project as a whole has been one of the best opportunities to feel like other people relate to specifically what I've gone through, because it's not easy. For me, feeling like I'm alone. Sometimes, like, some people won't talk about their experiences on a regular basis, but doing this, like, brings it out. So.
It's just really important for us to be able to have a public space for healing when so much of it is done in private. And I didn't really expect to see my quilt today. This is just kind of addressing an incident that happened a while back, but something that I've still been processing, and something that volunteering at Monument Quilt has helped me come to terms with in terms of forgiving myself.
Yeah, just really impressed with how much thought has gone into the logistics of this. Just a huge amount of work and kind of communal effort to make it happen. Survivors of sexual assault or abuse or anything else can just have stuff like that is so isolating and makes you feel so crazy in a lot of ways that if I had people around when I was going through stuff when I was a teenager, if I had people around to be oh, actually this isn't your fault, and you're not totally crazy for thinking that this is wrong, like kind of validating.